Hi, I'm your host, Erika Polsinelli, and welcome to Evolve by Erika The Podcast, where we talk all things spirituality, ascension, health, wellness, and beyond. I'm so excited that you are here. Come on in. Hello. I'm excited, nervous. I'm really excited to chat today about the energy of election, of politics, of recent news, and just all of the things that I don't usually talk about, that I shy away from. Life today is so controversial. There's just so much. And as a Libra, it is extremely hard to navigate that because there's definitely this aspect of not only wanting to be liked and accepted and seen for this balanced approach that I have, but also being super balanced and actually being able to see so many different perspectives. And I think sometimes that's hard. And I will be honest, I feel like over this year, there's been so many times where I've picked up my phone, went to share on social media something that was just charging me up with some energy. And I'd be like, you know what? I don't really want to post that because what if someone has a different point of view and then they're insulted by what I say because they have an opposing point of view? And I would just get in my head about it because I could literally, I think this also comes with just energy work and spirituality. I can literally feel every different perspective that's out there and accept that. It doesn't actually make me more grounded in my opinion. It actually makes me and helps me to understand that everyone has a different opinion because of their living experience, how they grew up, how they were raised, how they're living now, what their goals are for their life. And there is nothing right or wrong about it, as long as, you're not trying to harm someone or something. But I think in the time that we're living in right now, we need a little bit more of that neutrality energy and that acceptance of different opinions. And something that triggers me so deeply is the media, because they are really not harnessing that energy. It's actually quite the opposite. And for the past 4 to 5 years, we've seen how media, social media, the news has been used to really create this division of people. And I know from this practice, I know from the people I'm connected to, I know from the people I speak with on a daily basis, maybe it's you through DMs or just other people in my life, we're so much more alike than we are different. We, I would say, want a future so similar regardless of who we are voting for. And I think that social media has really contributed to this divide and this idea that my side is right, your side is wrong. And also this reaffirming of what we believe and also highlighting the extremes of either side. And I just wanted this episode to kind of be like a refresher of how connected we are, how truly one we really are on a soul and spiritual level, because we all come from the same source, no matter what that is, and how it's really up to us. We're going to vote on election day if you choose to vote, and we're going to all try to make the best decision based off of our experience, our beliefs, what we think will suit our individual life and the greatest for all. But at the same time, we have to remember our power as individuals and the power that we hold in what we post on social media, how we treat other people, with opposing opinions than us. I just want to say for the last 4 years, what I've actually seen go on, I haven't commented on anything publicly on the podcast, on Instagram, but there has been actual lunacy of what has gone on the past 4 years. And it's time that I think I have these conversations, but also I think all of us need to be a bit more comfortable in having the conversations. And for some reason, it's very clear, like what we're quote unquote supposed to say and what we're not supposed to say. The beliefs we may carry that are so important to us that we don't feel confident saying out loud because of the connotation that's been created around that idea. And a lot of what has happened, I think, is a lot of illusion has been created. And in this year, in 2024, I truly feel and believe that there has been so much spiritual growth. I think people are a lot less triggered. I think people are super passionate about politics and their quote unquote side. We have to remember we're all on the same team, but there's clear sides and everyone is super passionate about their side. And that's wonderful and lovely. Have your opinion, vote for whatever it is that you feel really passionate and really confident about, while having respect for someone else that doesn't share the same opinion as you. Have the uncomfortable conversations with people who don't believe what you believe and open up the dialogue and start to normalize their side, quote unquote, because it's not really a side, and your side or position. And I think these are the things that have to start happening. But it's also, for me, how I see it, it's been, I think, a tactic to sometimes have people afraid to speak their truth, because it gives us this false sense of what the collective believes and what an illusion is. So right now, we are in the thick of the Aquarian age. And the Aquarian age is known to be a time of transition into this beautiful future. With that comes, just like everything and anything, when we're under pressure, when there's about to be a great, beautiful change, first comes challenge, because we're all pressurized so that we can really get clear on what is our truth. We can really get clear on what we want for the world, and also maybe have to be let down, maybe experience these challenges so that as a collective, we can get to where we are destined to be. So from the Piscean age, it was very much top-down leadership. And now the Aquarian age is like power back to the people. The power is in the hands of the people. And I think we're seeing that as a positive thing through social media. Now, media isn't just what the news decides to share with us. It's actually happening right in front of our face by everyday people, their opinions, their perspectives, their views. And that's helping us to gain and see the power that we have as just everyday people. So as we transition, it is a bumpy ride. It is difficult. It is challenging. And we see things go on every day in this world that we don't want to bring into the actual age of Aquarius. We don't want to bring into the new earth, like war or terrorism or racism or judging people based off their religion or where they're from. Those are old, expired paradigms. And what we're stepping into is a space of acceptance, of oneness, of love. But before that could truly give birth, it's like this time of darkness where there is so much stuff coming up to the surface, so much stuff bubbling up to the surface that is eye-opening, is wild, that maybe our conspiracy friends were talking about 4 years ago, and now it's happening now. You could apologize to some of them for thinking they're crazy. But it's the truth. We're living through these times where a lot of the unseen is becoming seen. And it's an exciting time to be alive, but it's also a really hard time to be alive at some points, because so much of what we see doesn't really match what we want for this new earth that we're currently building. We're in the building stages of. So I'm definitely interested in how everything comes to be for the election and post-election. There's definitely things I want to see a change in the world. There's definitely some really, really important topics that are finally being highlighted and discussed that need to be discussed. I just think that there has to be so much change, because right now we're kind of going down quite this little path of darkness. And like I said, it first has to get dark before it becomes really light. So I'm definitely intrigued on how this goes. And I think I've heard, personally, I was sharing with Ashley before we hopped on, how like people are truly stressed about this election. And they have their reasons. That's fine. I'm not judging that at all. I do want to bring a different perspective to it so that maybe it could alleviate some of your stress. So I got the download that regardless of who wins, whether it's your person or not your person, we have to, just like we do in our personal lives, we have to trust that what's playing out is for the greatest good of the collective, whether we feel like that's playing out right here and right now or not. So if you feel, everyone is so passionate. So it's like, if the person you don't think is going to save the world and you think is going to create destruction or whatever it is you believe gets into office, maybe we need to surrender to whatever that is and allow for this plan to play out, because maybe someone is meant to be there to really get the collective to see that we need great change. Or maybe the person that gets in was meant to be in, and all of a sudden things do start to get better. We don't know, but the message I got was we have to surrender to whatever it is, because it's part of the just like we have our own divine path. The United States, our country, has its own zodiac and birth chart and journey, spiritual journey, process, and contracts that it has to go through in order to get us to where we're meant to be and go. So that was something that came in that just brought me so much peace. And the other thing is that since everyone is so passionate about the side that they're on, there's so much good in everyone, even the person who doesn't believe in what I believe in, or some aspects of it. Again, I think we all believe in a lot more alike than we do different. But for a person who's going to vote for a person that I'm not going to vote for, or has very different beliefs than I do when it comes to policies or politics or whatever it may be, I see goodness in that person aside from this. So therefore, I see goodness in their choice, even though it's not the choice I would make. So what I can do from there is just hope for our future and put it in their hands. If the person that they're voting for and promoting and supporting gets into office, I can just hope that it's for the greatest and highest good for all. And I think when we start to enter this space a bit more of neutrality, it takes the pressure off of us, and it allows us to come into that space more of oneness rather than separation. So by neutrality, I mean respecting other people's difference in opinions, not feeling like I'm right, because honestly, at the end of the day, like, who really knows what's right? Like, who really knows what we only are perceiving less than 1% of reality. We think we know it all. We think we know what's right. But at the end of the day, there has to be that humbling thought of, this is what I think, but also, who knows? Who knows? Because so much of life is an illusion. So much of it. So much of what we see on the news or social media is orchestrated to actually, this is a harsh word, but manipulate our emotions and how we feel. And then that controls the decisions we make and the people that we support. Everything is quite orchestrated. And I'm hopeful that as we shift into the new age and the new earth, things are going to be a lot more authentic and not as orchestrated. But this is kind of something, I came into this world just seeing things a little bit differently, knowing, and I think it's because I'm a mental projector in human design, knowing that what meets the eye is a very small percentage and there's a shit ton behind the scenes going on, whether that be in politics or just in life with businesses, with whatever it may be. They're Hollywood. Let's use that as an example because that's a very hot topic right now. We've looked up to these people who are in Hollywood and thought that's the life and that's the life that we want and they're untouchable and they live the dream. And now we're starting to see that there's some aspects of this that are quite dark, right? Not all of it, but some of it. And what people are willing to do for fame or what they think they can do because of the fame they have. So there is just so much of illusion. And I think what's so important, and it's actually just have helped me feel so much less charged up and less opinionated and less divisive, is knowing I can just believe what I believe and I accept what I believe because it's based off of my past, my present, what I want for the future. And it's actually not better, higher, or above anyone else's opinion, even if it is the exact opposite of someone else's. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their belief, and we should have the freedom to be able to choose that, to speak it, and to share it. So I hope that this in some way brings you comfort and confidence in our future, because I think what I'm sharing are these Aquarian constructs. And I've seen with my eyes the shift that we've made since 2020 and how many more people are more accepting, more open, more flexible to listening and understanding other opinions and opposing opinions. And I truly am an eternal optimist and have so much faith in our future. But it's going to take us holding the frequency of what we want to see in the world. If we're getting triggered by a post and getting in the comments and fighting people in the comments, we're in the mud. We're in the mud. We're not in the divine light when we're in the dirt fighting. So it's how can we stay true to our opinions? How can we stand confident in what we believe? How can we share this in a higher way? And how can we hold the light and be the light for the collective through this time of transition? Something interesting as well is, so Kundalini was a practice that came from India, and Yogi Bhajan brought it to the United States. And there is some controversy around him. My teachers, absolutely, they knew him, they loved him, they had nothing but positive things to say, but they did tell us in training that there is also controversy. And he shared these practices in the 60s or 70s, the time of like Woodstock era. Our teacher actually told us that they tuned in with Om Namo Gurudev Namo one day for Woodstock, which was cool. But he brought these teachings here to the United States in that time frame. And in his teachings, he shared that these are going to help with the shift of humanity into the Aquarian age. He spoke about the Piscean age. He spoke about the Aquarian age and what to expect. And he said it would be shared in the shift. And when I started to hear some of the controversy about him, at first, it was really hard to understand how these practices could be shared by someone that could be accused or live in this space of controversy. And it was really hard for me. But then I came back to the realization of what the practice has done for me and how the practice is separate from any of that, and continued on, obviously, and share it and teach it because of that. But I just thought that it was interesting how these practices are said to help us through this time. And there's actually some set practices that are in our manuals that share about this age of information, age of technology, and helping with the shift. And I think we should dive deeper into them on Evolve because it can only help. And when we sit and we do something that's believed to help, of course, the intention's there as well, and it will be helpful. But like the sadhana, the Aquarian sadhana mantras, the Aquarian sadhana mantras for the age of Aquarius, for the Aquarian age. So that's why I decided to try my best to get there every Thursday morning with the community to chant, because these are ways that we can just support the energy on earth to help shift into a higher frequency. And that, I feel, is my job here. There is a lot of negativity in every aspect of life, whether it's politics, whether it's Kundalini yoga, whether it's whatever it may be. But there's also light that exists too. And I think the more we get into the Aquarian age, we're going to see that a lot of things can coexist. Yes, this can be true, while this is also true. And it's the flexibility of the mind and our beliefs that is going to be really important to help us move through, and just always using our intuition to navigate when something feels aligned for us and when something does not, paying attention to how we feel. So that is what I wanted to share on the topics of politics, on election, on Hollywood energy, even on Kundalini. And I hope that you received whatever it is maybe you were meant to receive today. And I personally want to begin to have more courageous and maybe even controversial conversations, because that's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we work our muscle to accept other people who have opposing opinions than us. And honestly and truthfully, as a mental projector and a Libra, it feels like this dichotomy of being able to have this perspective and see through a lot of the illusion that, you know, when you start to talk about something that other people don't see yet, they think that you're crazy. They might try to discredit what you're saying, or we see this all the time. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but this is something we see all the time. And then time and consciousness elevates, and things start to change, and people start to see that maybe there's more than what meets the eye. And then finally, as a collective, we get to see more truth and clarity around it. But being a mental projector and being able to see things differently at times than the collective, not maybe you're with me and you see through the illusions, but for the most part, mental projectors are known for their vision and being able to see things that maybe are ahead of their time. But while also being a Libra and wanting to bring balance and wanting to bring peace and wanting just everything to be in harmony, it could sometimes feel like this contrast of like, but I want to share this, even though some people might think this is wild, this perspective. But what I've learned about human design is we're meant to share our perspective. We're meant to share how we see things. And that is meant to help guide others too. So I thank you for allowing this podcast to be such a safe space for me to start to do that and to open up in this way and share my beliefs. And I have so much hope for all of us as a collective to just become more understanding, more open, less judgmental, and less scared to have the hard conversations. So I want to thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait to see you next time. If you have any requests for what you want to chat about next, I'm completely open. And I'm wishing you the best. May the longtime sun shine upon you. Thank you for being here. I love you.